Primary Source, I think, is a really terrific professional development organization for teachers. And it feels like it's an organization that's for teachers and also by teachers.
The focus is really on international perspective. How are we citizens of the world? How does what we do affect the rest of the world? How does it affect us? Primary Source helps to get at the essence of all of those questions so that we can move forward in a better way with understanding.
I remember years ago there was a brochure from Primary Source, and on the back of it, it was this beautiful, haunting Adrienne Rich quotation. When someone with the authority of a teacher, say, describes the world and you're not in it, there's a moment of psychic disequilibrium, as if you looked into a mirror and saw nothing. Whether they realize it or not, if they don't see themselves reflected in the literature, in the histories, in the stories, then that's incredibly damaging. And I think the same is true for those who are not part of that group, to go through life thinking that theirs is the only narrative, that there are no other voices. So that's why I think it's just a powerful thing for everyone.
And so I basically had a conversion experience. I discovered that I liked history when I could go to what I called at that time the real stuff, the primary sources.
And I agreed with Anna that teachers need good academic primary source materials to teach with. Otherwise, the kids won't be interested. In the summer of 1995, we took a group of teachers to China on the first study tour. Well, that really, really made a difference to the teachers. I would say that it's the tour after the course that changed teachers' lives forever.
The world is a rapidly changing place, and Primary Source is positioned to be able to meet the needs of educators. After 9/11, many teachers came to us to ask for more information about the Middle East, the Islamic world, and we responded by developing a program. This is one of the things that's so wonderful about Primary Source, that we have the capacity, we have the intellectual capacity, we have the resources, we have the connections with scholars to be able to respond by meeting the teacher's needs.
One of the core values of Primary Source that was true at our founding and still true today is that we deeply respect the work of educators. The reality is, if you take a teacher out of the classroom, even for just a day, and bring them together with their colleagues, you give them a space to invent what great global learning and teaching looks like. We're not saying sort of take this and replicate. We're saying we actually trust you to take these resources, take this new content knowledge, and turn it into something that is exciting for kids. I mean, I think that's what's the most exciting thing about Primary Source, is that we are creating what the next generation of learning and teaching looks like in order to not only respond to the world around us, but to help create a new kind of world where kids really have an impact on issues that matter.
Teachers, I'm going to speak probably for most of us, also love to be students, and we don't often have time to take a full college course. So what you get when you go to Primary Source is you get sort of a shortened intellectual academic experience. You get to be a student for 3 days, but on that high collegiate level.
And one of the things that I found is it's very even-handed. It's not about telling a teacher or a participant how he or she should think about a country or a culture, but it's giving them that experience.
One of the things that I really like about Primary Source is that it treats teachers as professionals. It doesn't talk down to them. It also models effective ways of teaching.
We always assumed that teachers were capable of more than they'd been given in their professional development courses. We didn't want teachers to just sit there and listen to a lecture, and interesting as it was. They had to do a lot of hands-on work as well, because that's what we expected them to take back for their classroom.
So what you see here is a cooking demonstration as part of one of our courses. It's part of a Caribbean course, and what we have here is a lot of teachers preparing different foods from the Caribbean Basin region.
I think that's really interesting. A lot of the foods of the Caribbean are food of rebellion.
In this particular in-district program, we're looking at search skills, evaluating resources, how you write, how you think about research, and also thinking about it in a global context.
If you take a teacher and you give them one day in a classroom with their colleagues to think about critical global issues, you will be amazed at the enthusiasm that comes out. Teachers can go straight back to the classroom not only with a deeper knowledge of issues that they didn't understand before, but also practical suggestions, models, examples for how to make this content come alive for kids.
I really think that global education is close to being job number one for educators today. In the 21st century, where the world is more interconnected than it has ever been before, and where we really are living in the global village, it's a job of every teacher, regardless of their discipline, to help prepare students for the world that they're going to live in.
Are you preparing yourself to deal with being part of a global marketplace, where jobs aren't just local anymore, where you have to be able to adapt to different situations, deal with people from different cultures and everything. And I think the more that we can promote that in our students, I think the better off they'll be able to deal with the world that we're moving into, which is already here in some ways.
I mean, it's amazing how totally needed primary source is now, even more than when we started it 25 years ago.
So I'm thrilled that it's our 25th anniversary. It's truly a momentous occasion, and I very much hope that people will continue to support Primary Source. Its work and its mission is as relevant today as it has ever been.
25 years ago, our founders understood just how critical learning about the world was to our students. Today, that message is still very much the same. So as we enter our next phase and look to the next 25 years, I know that Primary Source will continue to support teachers to help open their minds to the world and inspire the kind of change that we want to see in classrooms across our country.
I think, first of all, because Primary Source is so good at what it does, it will remain a really vibrant and essential organization. I can't imagine ever wanting to stop the relationship that our school has with Primary Source. To me, it's really integral to what we do, and our district's partnership with Primary Source is really valued by our whole administration.
And there's so many different corners of the world that are still opening up to me because of Primary Source. So that's why I think it's invaluable to my career, and I hope it can be for other teachers as well.
I think because of the nature of the work, this place has always attracted really amazing staff. I mean, we have people who are smart, dedicated, absolutely willing to go the second and third and the fourth mile to make everything work. And I think that's the secret of it.
I mean, the way we started down in the basement of Center Street. But we thought we could.
Yeah, and we did pretty well. I think we did. Yeah.